Religion has convinced people that there's an invisible man living in the sky who watches everything you do every minute of every day. And the invisible man has a list of 10 specific things he doesn't want you to do. And if you do any of these things, he will send you to a special place of burning and fire and smoke and torture and anguish for you to live forever and suffer and burn and scream until the end of time. But he loves you. He loves you. He loves you, and he needs money. He always needs money. He's all-powerful, all-present, all-knowing, and all-wise. Just can't handle money. Religion takes in billions and billions of dollars. They pay no taxes, and somehow they always need money. You talk about a good bullshit story. If I may be permitted a small pun, holy shit. Holy shit.
Okay. It's been a little while since I've been here, and a couple of things have happened in that time. I'd like to talk a little bit about the war in the Persian Gulf. Big doings in the Persian Gulf. You know my favorite part of that war? It's the first war we ever had that was on every channel plus cable. And the war got good ratings too, didn't it? Got good ratings. Well, we like war. We like war. We're a warlike people. We like war because we're good at it. And you know why we're good at it? Because we get a lot of practice. This country's only 200 years old, and already we've had 10 major wars. We average a major war every 20 years in this country, so we're good at it. And it's a good thing we are. We're not very good at anything else anymore. Huh? Can't build a decent car, can't make a TV set or a VCR worth the fuck. Got no steel industry left, can't educate our young people, can't get health care to our old people, but we can bomb the shit out of your country, all right? Huh? We can bomb the shit out of your country, all right? Especially if your country is full of brown people. Oh, we like that, don't we? That's our hobby. That's our new job in the world, bombing brown people. Iraq, Panama, Grenada, Libya, you got some brown people in your country, tell them to watch the fuck out, or we'll goddamn bomb them. Well, when's the last white people you can remember that we bombed? Can you remember the last can you remember any white people we've ever bombed? The Germans, those are the only ones, and that's only because they were trying to cut in on our action. They wanted to dominate the world. Bullshit, that's our fucking job. That's our fucking job. Now we only bomb brown people. Not because they're trying to cut in on our action, just because they're brown. Now you probably noticed I don't feel about that war the way we were told we were supposed to feel about that war, the way we were ordered and instructed by the United States government to feel about that war. You see, I tell you, my mind doesn't work that way. I got this real moron thing I do, it's called thinking. Now, to balance the scale, I'd like to talk about some things that bring us together. Things that point out our similarities instead of our differences. Because that's all you ever hear about in this country is our differences. That's all the media and the politicians are ever talking about, the things that separate us, things that make us different from one another. That's the way the ruling class operates in any society. They try to divide the rest of the people. They keep the lower and the middle classes fighting with each other so that they, the rich, can run off with all the fucking money. Fairly simple thing, happens to work. You know, anything different, that's what they're going to talk about. Race, religion, ethnic and national background, jobs, income, education, social status, sexuality, anything they can do, keep us fighting with each other so that they can keep going to the bank. You know how I describe the economic and social classes in this country? The upper class keeps all of the money, pays none of the taxes. The middle class pays all of the taxes, does all of the work. The poor are there just to scare the shit out of the middle class. Keep them showing up at those jobs.
The interesting thing about this country is they talk about how we have freedom of choice. You know, we have freedom of choice. Yeah, very limited. It's an important thing. Limited choice. 2 political parties, essentially. 2. Big media companies, 5, 6
max.
Yeah. Oil companies down to 3 now, I think, overall, 3 or 4. Banks, the big brokerage houses, the big accounting firms, all of the things that are important reduced in choice. Newspapers in a city, how many? Used to be 3, 4, now it's 1 or 2 that are owned by the same people, and they also own a radio station and a TV station. But jelly beans, 32 flavors. Ice cream, all the things that don't matter. The unimportant things, a lot of choices. And you know what I say? You know what your freedom of choice is in America? Paper or plastic. That's it, man. It comes down to paper or plastic, cash or charge, aisle or window, smoking or non-smoking, Coke or Pepsi. These are your choices. Everything else is kind of laid out for you. You get to do what they really want. They do what they want. The ones who own this country, they do what they want.
Speaking of our choices being usurped or taken away from us, what do you make of what? And I'm fascinated to ask you this because all the things that you've been talking about for years are, I mean, we've come full circle on this stuff. And that's why I was so fascinated, and thank you for coming on the program.
Sure.
But here we are now, 30 years after you were talking about it, with this huge debate, this huge fight about whether or not our civil liberties are being taken away from us. What are your thoughts on?
Well, I think if you looked at the record of laws which have been passed in the last 30 to 40 years, there's a thing called social hysteria. Social hysteria is whipped up generally by the media. Crime, in Nixon's time, crime was the big social hysteria issue. There's too much crime, they're coddling, the courts are coddling the criminals, we have to tougher laws. So a lot of civil liberties went away in terms of the rights of criminals and the rights of the accused and the people going on trial. These were limited, they were cut down. These rights which are guaranteed by the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Another social hysteria, drugs. The drug thing happened, same thing. Big flow of drugs, we're going to fight the drugs, we need newer, tougher laws, we need draconian sentences, we need to be able to go into houses, we need to be able to do this, we have reasonable, all of these shortcuts have resulted in less liberties because of social hysteria. The media whips up the frenzy. People get all excited. The legislature passes it, the president, the executive signs it, and the judges, then the judicial branch okays it sometime later when it gets to them. And what has happened is you have less freedom, less liberties, less civil liberties, less rights. And the third social hysteria is terrorism. That was whipped up. Now it's a little more cause there. You look at the 9/11; it's a very dramatic event, but that too has been used with this Patriot Act to reduce our liberties. They say, well, if you have nothing to hide, what are you worried about? You know that whole argument? Oh, yeah, good. Yeah, tell me about the people that are, just getting out of prison because of the DNA, if they had nothing to hide. It's just, listen, this country is owned by the ownership class. They do pretty much what they want. I figure it's like a freak show. Here's what I do. You know what I do? To me, if you're born in the world, you get a ticket to the freak show. They give you a ticket to the freak show. If you're born in America, you got a front row seat. So some people are in the freak show. We got our freaks. Then some people, they want to fix the freaks. These are the ACLU lawyers, environmentalists. Well, let's fix the freaks. We're going to fix them up. Oh, isn't that terrible? Let's do this. And then there are folks who just watch the freak show, as me. And some of us get to write about it or talk about it. And I do that.
That's you too.
And say, oh, look at you. Look how badly you're doing. I don't even count myself in. I say, look how badly you folks are doing. How did you do this to yourself? Why did you let them do this to you?
Now, there's one thing you might have noticed I don't complain about. Politicians. Everybody complains about politicians. Everybody says they suck. Well, where do people think these politicians come from? They don't fall out of the sky. They don't pass through a membrane from another reality. They come from American parents and American families, American homes, American schools, American churches, American businesses, and American universities, and they're elected by American citizens. This is the best we can do, folks. This is what we have to offer. It's what our system produces. Garbage in, garbage out. If you have selfish, ignorant citizens, you're going to get selfish, ignorant leaders. And term limits ain't going to be any good. You're just going to wind up with a brand new bunch of selfish, ignorant Americans. So maybe it's not the politicians who suck. Maybe something else sucks around here, like the public. Yeah, the public sucks. There's a nice campaign slogan for somebody. The public sucks, fuck hope. Fuck hope. Because if it's really just the fault of these politicians, then where are all the other bright people of conscience? Where are all the bright, honest, intelligent Americans ready to step in and save the nation and lead the way? We don't have people like that in this country. Everybody's at the mall, scratching his ass, picking his nose, taking his credit card out of his fanny pack and buying a pair of sneakers with lights in them. So I have solved this little political dilemma for myself in a very simple way. On Election Day, I stay home. I don't vote. Fuck them. Fuck them. I don't vote. Two reasons I don't vote. First of all, it's meaningless. This country was bought and sold and paid for a long time ago. The shit they shuffle around every 4 years doesn't mean a fucking thing. And secondly, I don't vote because I believe if you vote, you have no right to complain. People like to twist that around, I know. They say, well, if you don't vote, you have no right to complain. But where's the logic in that? If you vote, and you elect dishonest, incompetent people, and they get into office and screw everything up, well, you are responsible for what they have done. You caused the problem. You voted them in. You have no right to complain. I, on the other hand, who did not vote, who, in fact, did not even leave the house on Election Day, am in no way responsible for what these people have done and have every right to complain as loud as I want about the mess you created that I had nothing to do with. So I know that a little later on this year you're going to have another one of those really swell presidential elections that you like so much. You'll enjoy yourselves. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm sure as soon as the election is over, your country will improve immediately.
Speaking of child abuse, next up, grade school. Grade school, where he won't be allowed to play tag because it encourages victimization. And he won't be allowed to play dodgeball because it's exclusionary. And it promotes aggression. Standing around is still okay. Standing around is still permitted, but it won't be for long because sooner or later some kid is going to be standing around and his foot will fall asleep and his parents will sue the school and it'll be goodbye fucking standing around. Now,